My name is Lyda Ness Garcia. I have lived in El Paso since 1997. I moved here straight out of law school when our then county attorney, Jose Rodriguez, offered me a job. I was able to get a great first job straight out of law school prosecuting child abuse cases, and that's what brought me to El Paso, and I've chosen to make El Paso home and raise my three amazing, fierce, powerful children here. I actually grew up in Athens, Greece. My mom and my grandma raised me. And when I was about 13, we returned to the United States and I went to school in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I went to the University of Michigan for my undergraduate. And then traveling across the country, I fell in love with Austin, Texas. I was there for a couple of years. I was working for Greenpeace. I was working for some other organizations and decided I wanted to go to law school. And while I was there, that's when I became an advocate for children. I realized that's what I wanted to do. I fell in love with that area of the law. And then that's what brought me to El Paso. In terms of being in the community, most of my legal career, all of my legal career actually is representing families. I represent parents, grandparents, children who are in the family law system. I also have a specialty in representing parents and children who are in the foster care system. So I represented children who've been taken away from their parents, and I also represent parents who are trying to get their children returned to them. In terms of being in the community, I have been involved with everything from reproductive equity issues. I was one of the original founders, along with some other amazing people, for March for Our Lives, for Stand with El Paso Women, for Women's March El Paso, and have been a very vocal opponent of children in cages here in our border, marching and protesting for issues on immigration. So I hope to raise my children in a community where we all feel proud in our differences, our diversities, and everything that unites us at the same time. So this is why I've chosen to be in El Paso. Advice or words of wisdom that I would give to my 17-year-old self? That's a great question. I think I would tell them to worry less, to live a little bit more in the moment. I tend to be someone who likes to look at all the possible outcomes and think about what might happen, and I guess that's why I'm a good lawyer, but it also means that I often have tried to second guess my decisions instead of sometimes just enjoying them. What I would tell other women about living their best lives would be, do what comes completely true to you. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to what other people say. We live in an era of social media where there is so much ugliness, so much vitriol, so much nastiness out there. And it really does break my heart, because that's not an environment I grew up in. And it breaks my heart for my children, even more so. So when I see other women or when I see other young people, I want to tell them, this shall pass. They don't know you. The people who matter know you. And you can't control those things. So just find peace in what you know you can do and how you can make your world a better place. What has been an aha or eureka moment in my life? I actually remember going into college at University of Michigan, and I came from a loving mom and a stepfather, a loving father, and a great grandmother, where I was probably very protected growing up. And when I got to college, I got there and I realized that life wasn't as good for everybody else as it was for me. Not everyone has the same privileges that I did. And I don't mean economic, because actually my mother was going through med school, so we lived in a tiny little apartment, and my stepdad was the one who took care of me. But I remember getting to school and thinking, you mean the United States does this to other countries? Do you mean there are people and children in this world who don't have food like I did? And that was a profound aha moment, is suddenly realizing that things weren't as perfect for everybody else as they were for me in my loving home. If I had the opportunity to speak to someone alive or deceased, and who would it be? I have actually a laundry list of people who that would be, for various reasons. But I've always thought that I would have loved, if I had my dinner party with a group of people, one of them would be Bob Marley, who is the person I go to when it's been a rough day, when I'm sitting there. It's the songs my babies started singing when they were little. So that would be one person. I would have to say at this point, one of them would be Ruth Bader Ginsburg, only because as a female lawyer, I can't even imagine what she went through. And I'd love to hear her stories of paving the way. And then I would love to sit down with some female comedians. Like, I just think, you know, that would be just to be able to sit down and talk about their experiences in what was particularly a male-dominated type world. There are a couple of things I would like to accomplish or witness in my lifetime, or particularly for my children. And one of them would be less acrimony in our political system in the United States. I find that that is a great source for so many people I speak of in regards to their anxiety. It's a lot these days, whatever side you're on. I would like to see us treat, and some of these are profound, but I would like to see us treat climate change as something really real. My children talk to me about whether or not they would consider having children, because for them it's a reality of what this planet's going to be like in 80 years. And so I would like to see that be a profound change in the way we look at things. Name one place in the world I'd like to visit and why. There's actually several places, but I'd have to say on my bucket list, one of the places I definitely really want to go to is Morocco. It has always been there. I don't know, the colors, the beauty, the food, the people, the water. So that's one place. One of the quotes that actually inspires me, especially when days are a little bit dark or when we wake up and the news is kind of overwhelming, and I know it may be trite, but it is the Martin Luther King quote about the arc of justice. And things may be really tough, but there will be a point where we get to a place that's right. And I think about that a lot. I really do. I am currently reading a book called Far from the Tree by Andrew Solomon, Children in the Search for Identity. And it's about the uniqueness of our children and recognizing the beauty in that uniqueness. And it's a voluminous, huge book, and I've just started, but it, I think, is, from what I've read so far, it reminds us to honor those differences in our children. That yes, they're ours, but also they're their own little human beings. So on my musical playlist, I have a fair amount of different kind of music, mostly because I have a 16-year-old teenager. So we share music in the car. So my musical playlist ranges from Imagine Dragons to Bob Marley. My go-to when I'm feeling really down is Stevie Wonder as well. Aretha, the Rolling Stones, I can always listen to. And I'd have to say those are my core go-to pieces of music. My life as a woman is complex. There are really amazing days, and there's moments as a mother and as a single mother, I'm profoundly lucky and blessed and grateful for everything I have in my children. And there are moments where I know I get asked questions that other people wouldn't get asked because I'm a single mother. And it's been a balancing act. And I think it has taught my children a valuable lesson, and it has taught me a certain kind of empathy and sympathy for those who don't always have it easy. But I wouldn't have wanted any other journey than the one I've been on, even with all of the difficulties. What I love about El Paso is the people. When I came to El Paso, I was supposed to come for 3 years for a job, and then I thought I would move back to Austin, and I didn't. And everybody warned me. They said, you say you're going to leave and you're not. And here I am 23 years later. And I truly love the people, that the fact that family comes first, that everything in this community revolves around our children. That's what I love about this community. And I love now that it's developing with a vibrant art scene and a vibrant music scene and restaurants and all the things that hopefully mean my children won't leave one day. I think El Paso could be more inviting by ensuring the rest of Texas particularly understands exactly what we have to offer. I think so many people will come to me and they say, you're from El Paso, and you get that little sort of head like, what? And they have no concept about what it's like here. And we're not like the rest of Texas. We are extraordinarily unique. And so I think that if we let the rest of Texas and the Southwest know exactly what we have to offer in terms of beautiful mountains, climate, the people, the food, I think that people might develop a different perspective towards us. The world needs now is more compassion. I just see so much hate and so much intolerance of other people that we don't even know. And that kind of dehumanization, it really does break my heart. Like I open my device in the morning and I look at the social media and I just start seeing the nastiness and the ugliness, and it breaks my heart. When I saw posts about RBG's death, it broke my heart. When I saw posts about George Floyd trying to justify because of his past criminal history, I was just like, what happened to all of us just looking at each other like people? And I don't know, that's what really breaks my heart. And I don't remember it being like this, and not to date myself, but I don't remember feeling like this until the last 4 or 5 years. The ugliness, the meanness, and it makes me really, really, really sad for our future if we don't turn this around. So what is a gem or a jewel in the art community that everybody should try? It has to be Lucy's for me. I know it's really silly to talk about food, but that's, for me, El Paso, like there's certain foods and smells that when I leave, I come back and I want to visit. So I'd have to say Lucy's. So my personal message to El Pasoans is to be just more kind to each other and more tolerant, especially when we're in a political season. You can support, you can care about the people you care about, but it doesn't mean we have to denigrate other people. I'm really proud to live in El Paso. I'm really proud to have chosen El Paso to raise my children. And I want this community to be the same kind and welcome community that I came to, and one of the reasons I chose to stay. And so just be kind. You never know what anyone else is going through. And if we judge each other based on what we think and what we believe, rather than taking a breath for a minute and just listening to someone else, I think we would all be a whole lot happier.